Alright, what's up guys? My name is Nick. I also go by Ashes. For those of you who don't know me, I am the head coach and manager of Denial Esports Gears of War. And I'm here to bring a sort of coaching analytical video. It's a recent match between FragD and this other team with Pookie, Starbrights, Beka, and Finagler. The reason I'm going over this match is I'm obviously a huge fan of Fatal Strike and what he does for the Gal community, and just wanted to help these guys out. I've worked with Wingos before. He's a really cool guy. So I figured I would go over this VOD from Fatal Strike stream and kind of break down what happened, what went wrong, what went well, and yeah, so let's go from there. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump into the replay here. So I have this little app that's going to allow me to draw on the screen, and it'll help us kind of go over things as they happen. And I'm going to be starting and stopping a lot, explaining things, why they didn't work and whatnot.
Love that front spawn. So nice.
Spawn sucks. I got one in. How many P hops up, Manny?
Oh my god.
Alright, so we're into the first round now. The first thing we can see is that they have at least 3 people outside, one, and then there's kind of 2 right there that you can kind of tell. So we know that they're running a 3 outside at least, and I believe that J-Ribs will call out that there is 1 inside. So that's going to tell us kind of an idea of what they're doing in terms of strategy. They're going to have at least 2 people up top somewhere here at nades, because we can see this guy is running this direction, and they're more than likely going to have 2 set up at boom. Being that they're doing 2 setup at boom, it's more than likely that they're going to be sitting back at boom. And if we play our cards right, we being FragD, then we should be able to have a pretty easy boom pickup. So let's keep running with the clip and see what happens.
One went to go side pistol. I don't know if he hopped up though. Can't tell.
He crossed me from top. Watch it, watch it.
Alright, so we can see in the setup right now, you know, ignoring the fact that he died already inside, we see one guy set up over here, one guy right here, and one guy right here. So what this tells us is that we have a pretty easy boom pickup, ignoring the fact that he died. I mean, even with the fact that he died, we still have a pretty easy boom pickups, since we can slide it against that wall. They have no way to respond. The time for them to run around that bag and up here to do anything to us is going to take way longer than us to just pick the boom up and then be able to get a shot off. Plus, I believe that we ran a 3 out and 1 in, with J-Ribs going inside. And I believe our setup outside is sort of mirroring theirs. So ideally in this situation right now is we should be communicating that they have a setup that's requiring basically them to all sit back and Lancer. So this equals a free boom slide for us, for Joe, and whoever's playing behind Joe needs to come up and basically take Joe's spot and be in position to pick him up in case he somehow manages to get down. And then our next move is going to be try to be able to push up and take out these people with that boom shot. While our guy in wherever he is in mid, I believe he's going to play up near nades, like on the staircase. He should be crossing out the guy on nades. That way he protects our guys pushing across. They can't cross down at us. We have a chance to pick up some kills here to make it at least a 3-on-2 or a 3-on-3. Let's play it out.
Watch it. Slime boom, slime boom.
Alright, good play here.
Have our nades.
He's getting crossed,
Got one
gets
down,
it down, but he
Come on,
rolled
Jeremy.
kind of like a panic roll,
Dead, run, run.
and then that made this pickup late.
I need help.
He needs help, our nades. No, don't run up, A. Oh,
Kill the fucking kid.
they're not close to you. Nice boom.
So he gets a good boom there, but then
Oh,
just gets
Jeremy.
one-shotted there, which is unfortunate, but it just happens in this game.
Just runs down and blind.
Jeremy, when I come
So
running
if we had
back,
taken the
you
boom
were
shot,
so close to me, bro.
and instead of rolling backwards, just stayed calm and taken cover in the pit and relied on our teammates. Now, I did see Scar pushed across middle there, and he probably should have been paying attention to up top a little bit more. But we could have had better boom control. Also, Wingos wasn't prepared for the pickup, so he wasn't in position. Alright, so here we are, round 2. We see a kind of similar setup that the other team's sitting back. They have one guy here, and we see bullets over here, so we can presume there's another guy over there, right? And I think he called that there was one inside. And according to my notes, that they did send a 3rd person out here. So they're basically doing the same setup again. So if executed right, we have the same opportunity to pick up this boom and to have a person come up to here and then basically just push with the boom into their side of the map. And that's going to allow us to pick off this guy and then make it a 4-on-3. So we get a good boom slide. This guy pushed up mid, and instead of pushing forward, we push backwards, right? So now we're in a bad situation. Scar's died somewhere. It looks like he died at jump up somewhere.
He's flying for me at boom. He's in
I'm up top, I'm up top.
Joe sort of wastes one boom and then takes boom up top, gets a good kill. But the problem is our teammates have like separated themselves here. Jordan or J Ribs died out here at boom shot, and I'm not quite sure why he was at boom shot. We had already picked up boom, so there was no real objective for him to take. Oops, went too far back. Let's kind of watch this round again, because 3 outside, we get the call from Scar. They're hiding back, we get the boom slide. Now he's safe. Oh, so Scar dies at nades. And then Wingos gets down. That's a wasted boom. And then Ribs gets a kill in mid, but then is pushing boom. And Fatal is pushed back to nades. So basically what we've seen happen, and like the overhead view of the map, which I happen to have here, is we've seen Joe with boom shot go basically from here, and Ribs going from inside, so you know, in here, to around and out and down as Ribs, and Joe's gone like that. So they've made like a circle and aren't together at any point. So it seems like the big flaw right now, just after 2 rounds that we can easily notice, is that they're struggling with their mid-game rotations. So let's keep going with this round.
Right now, Jordan.
1v2. No, I'm not lagging. It's just your screen.
So what we're going to see happen here is a big miscommunication between Joe and his teammates.
Your right side. That's a 1v if you push that. You're right.
He calls out he's pushing his right. Joe saw it.
Literally a 1v right there on the block.
1v right there on the block. So we're getting good callouts for Joe.
I take that on your
No
right. Joe.
boom, because I've used
Take it on your right.
Everything else we're on the right. Your teammates all the way at boom.
grenades, hold up.
He's pre-aiming it. He's pre-aiming the shotgun hit.
And then Joe goes for nades.
See, right there.
And Joe said he was going to go for nades, but no one really acknowledged that he called that out, and he wasn't really acknowledging what his teammates called out. So what ended up happening is, out of confusion, some kind of miscommunication, Joe pushes for nades, thinking that the guy is in a different spot than he was, and dies. So it's another lost round. So going into the 3rd round, we're basically going to see the same strats again. We're going to see 3-1 for both teams. So Joe's just calling it out as I pause it right here, that the other team's playing back again. We see a guy here, guy here, guy here. So it's the same 3-back setup. Again, best play. Boom pickup. Wingos takes cover to be able to get a quick revive or protect him in mid. And Scar can either push across like he did, or literally just sit back on the staircases that are back this direction and cross this guy and whoever might come out front door. I know my drawings are a little bit confusing, but it makes sense. I promise it makes sense. All right.
Getting back in, I'm getting it now. Got it.
All right, so Joe's got boom. So right now, Joe is safe. At this point in time, Joe is safe, and I believe that's Scar, based on the character. I believe that's Scar. So we now have a situation where we have control of the map. We've already established that we are winning this round because we have better map control and we have better power weapon control. And that's basically what this game breaks down to, is the first to get the power weapons and then use those power weapons effectively to gain control. And then control leads to kills, kills leads to wins. So we have Joe sitting in a good spot because he's now protected. He's got boom. We've got a guy here, and I believe Wingos is somewhere this direction. And then we've got J-Ribs somewhere in there. Okay, so we've got a good kind of line of scrimmage across the map. Our next play needs to be taking out these guys that we knew were here, here, up here, and then there's one more inside. So these 2 guys right here are basically separated from the rest of the team, right? Like if you put a divider, let me clear this off. If you put a divider down the middle of the map right there, you've got a guy here and a guy here, and the other 2 are literally on different levels, then you've got 2 free kills that you can take out with the first 2 booms. So that needs to be the first play. Now that Joe's recovered, Wingos needs to be pushing up and be ready, like right behind Joe as Joe comes around this corner and cleans up these kills. Scar pushing this way is going to allow us to either pinch them or allow Scar to distract this guy right here. So that should be the play we're looking for now that we have boom shot. Let's see how this plays out.
Weaker ready.
I'm backing up for
Hey, but you gotta get ready to find me, Jordan. I mean, we go.
Okay, so instead, what we see happen is it looks like J-Ribs gets double teamed inside because he has someone downing him that's different than someone picking him or killing him, unless he pushed outside. In which case, I didn't hear him communicate that. We've got Scar, Wingos, and Joe basically all in one small condensed corner of the map. I'll bring up the overhead again. We've got everyone basically condensed into this section of the map, and we have boom. So we have 3 people here, and then J-Ribs died somewhere up here. Meanwhile, they've still got their same setup of here, here, and then 2 up here somewhere. So it seems like even though that we have the power weapon control, we've lost control of this round. We've lost control of this map so far, which shouldn't be happening. We went from having control like this to that. So basically, now that we're in this situation, we need to figure out a way that we can reestablish control of the map. Now, we know that they have 2 people up here somewhere. We don't know where, and we know that they have 2 people in this area somewhere. And we have boom shot. So really, our goal is going to be getting set up positions and figuring out a way to catch one of them out and using the boom shot to kind of maneuver pressure around. Because even though it's a 4-on-3 right now, we still can establish control with that boom shot. That's just what that weapon does for us. They're going to be afraid of the boom shot, and we can maneuver them kind of like hurting them like cattle based on what we want them to do. Let me bring it back to the replay here.
Run, Dick.
Alright, so they threw nades. That picked off Scar. We knew they had nade control. And now we see him fighting a 1v. So rather than Joe using the boom shot to pick off someone else, he picks off that guy after Wingos gets down, but Wingos gets cleaned up. So that puts Joe into a 1v3. Which, even though he has 1 boom shot, that's not enough to really make it an easy clutch. A good team's not going to let him clutch. So really, they've kind of screwed themselves from having complete control of this round to having absolutely no control. And it basically boils down to the movements in the middle of the round and the middle of the map, and then J-Ribs dying. Now, he picks up this kill here. This is good. And then he's going to kind of dance around a little bit. And I believe he plays out the round by running inside, picking up sniper, running some more, and then just getting cleaned up when they pick up boom shot. So I'm going to kind of fast forward through this as best I can. Yeah, so here we are, see him with sniper. He's still trying to maneuver around, and he lost. So unfortunate. We had that round. That's another round that should have been ours, but it happens. But here we kind of hear them arguing a little bit, and I want to touch on that a little bit. When you're in the middle of a game, and you're especially in the middle of a map, the last thing you want to be doing is arguing about a round that you can't change. So like these 3 rounds that have just happened are in the past. There's nothing you can do about them. Like, we're down 3, doesn't matter. Your goal now is to win the next 4 no matter what. So you should be talking about what you need to do to win those 4 maps, or 4 rounds, sorry, and focusing on that, not worrying about this. So like, obviously we're having mid-round rotation, so issues. So it's like, next round we need to push with boom. So like, that could be something you say, push. Sorry for my bad handwriting, it's hard to write with this. Push with boom. We need better callouts. Call out, whatever. Those are the things that need to be talked about that lead to those 4-round wins. Reflecting on these 3 rounds in the middle of the match is just cluttering comms, and you don't have the time for that in this game. There's no times outs like CSGO. There's no pauses. There's nothing you can do about those 3 rounds. Afterwards, sure, talk about them all you want, but in the game, like, leave it for afterwards.
Right.
Yeah, but guys push through that. I'm grabbing.
All right, so they changed up the strat.
2 in the back of boom, 2 went inside. I got a bad
Scar calls out that it's a 2-2, and then we kind of do like this half boom pickup, half not, and they get to throw nades, which picks up Fatal and J-Ribs, and that's basically the round over. I'm not entirely sure what that strategy was, and I kind of want to draw it out here to see if I can kind of understand it with you guys. So we ran a 4 out, and it looks like we had someone sit here, someone sit back here, and then 2 push through. But the push through was so delayed that their guys managed to come all the way, like, I'm just going to kind of half-ass draw the line, all the way like that and get nades and throw them over here by the time these guys came and did that. Like, that doesn't seem right to me, and I don't know the exact timings, but I know when we've run this strat before, we usually have a guy actually coming through middle as well, just to effectively, because your goal is to kill these 2 people as fast as possible. And if they have 3 out, then kill those 3. But only having 2 people push, your best case scenario is you have a 2-on-2 shotgun fight, and you have this guy maybe helping you across, but then you give up this power weapon control. And like as I mentioned earlier with Boomshot, once you give up a power weapon, you're theoretically giving up control of the map, which then leads to kills, leads to rounds. And that's exactly what happens. We give up control of this power weapon, we don't take control of this power weapon, and it leads to 2 people dying right here, which leads to them winning the map. And it's unfortunate that we lost in that way, especially on the last round. And it seems almost like people are a little bit tilted just because of the way things are going. But the biggest thing is you got to be able to shake that off and think clearly. So in this strategy, if you want to run this kind of strategy effectively, like, you want to know what your objectives are. So if they're setting up like this, and I'm just going to kind of rough guesstimate, they're sending 1 inside, 1 here, and I believe they sent 2 inside that round. So let me actually delete that. Oops. So they sent 2 inside. They sent 1 guy here and 1 guy here, roughly. So our goal is going to be killing these 2 people before these 2 people come out the front door. And when these 2 people come out the front door, we have a guy here to distract them. Like, he needs to be looking this direction and lancering them so that they can't just freely pick up nades and throw them without getting downed or pressured in some way. So pushing 3 people, or I guess 2 people, and having 1 guy sitting back on this side isn't really an optimum way of do this, because you're only coming at them from 1 angle, right? If you're having 3 people come down 1 path of sight, these people can both look down this same way and just cross their Lancer fire like an X, and you're not getting through that. It just basically builds a wall of bullets that you have to push through. If you're picking up boom shot, that's one thing, because you can just slide it against this wall and then pop up, shoot them, push, kill, you know. But we haven't been able to do that so far. So what we should be doing in order to optimize this kind of setup is having 1 guy push through middle, because what he's going to be doing is he's going to be taking basically care of this guy. He's either going to be pushing around behind him, or he's going to be coming in from just like an out of sight path that catches him off guard, because by the time he's in vision, he's already like within shotgun range of them. At the same time, we have 2 people pushing through here. And what this is going to do is kill these 2 people early. They're going to get nade control more than likely, but as long as this guy can communicate where they throw the nades, then we should be able to dodge those, or at worst case scenario, lose only 1 person to it. And then we have a boom pickup, because they've wasted their nades, and they're basically going to have to retreat to sniper, and we're going to have a 3-on-2 situation where we have better map control with the boom shot. So that's like ideally, I mean, that's kind of how this would play out. Maybe ideally is to lose nobody and have a 4-on-2 and, you know, whatnot. But that's basically how this is going to play out for us. Now, personally, I don't agree with it. Personally, I think if they're sending 2 inside, like we hear that call out early, that Scars says they're sending 2 inside, that means we know there's only 2 outside and we have 4 outside. Which means if this guy crosses here and we have 2 people at boom, and 1 guy maybe pushing across middle or around behind. Sorry for my bad arrows. This is a free boom pickup that can then help kill these people even faster and have less worry about nades. Or even have just boom stare at these guys. However you want to play that out. But I would suggest pushing this way with boom shot and taking out these guys. And that's what's going to end up winning you that round. And what you'll see a lot of pro league teams running on Mansion. Mansion's kind of a chaotic map, so it's really hard to go too deep into strategy here. But that's kind of like a more effective way of playing that 4 outside. In the rounds previous, we saw a lot of mess ups in the mid game rotations where Joe would be able to pick up Boom. Wingos would be somewhere behind him. Scar would be somewhere in the middle of the map, and Ribs would be somewhere in here. And instead of using this boom shot to take control of the map, because, I'll change up color here for a second. We knew that they had here, 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 and here. Rather than using boom shot to take control and take out these guys, we retreated with boom shot every time, which caused Joe to get down, and by then, Ribs was typically dying inside, and they were throwing nades and either killing or pressuring these guys. Or Scar would panic and push across the map and maybe get a kill and then die, so just trade off. So now our boom shot's getting downed, nades are being thrown at us, Ribs has died, Scar has died, and we're in a 3-on-2 situation. Even though we have boom, we're getting downed and we don't have control. So it's just kind of really like an unfortunate way that we played out the map. And we need to be a little bit more confident in ourselves and our teammates going into those mid-round situations. Like, Joe needs to know, like, okay, I have boom. And Wingos needs to know. I know Wingos is a new addition, by the way. Like, I know that. So this was kind of like a testament to the newness of having a fourth play this role. But Wingos needs to know that when Joe gets boom, he's free to push up. And he can either push up the statue or he can push up the eye. So now he's advanced, and optimally I. He wants to stick with Joe. And Joe can push up. Wingos can be right behind him. And these two people on the other team should be dead. Same time as Scar is pushing up across this way and either distracting this guy or coming up this way and helping Ribs as he runs out. However you guys want to play that. And then Ribs needs to be careful about his 1v1s inside, but that comes down to a mechanical thing. And I'm not going to talk about that because you guys are good players and don't need me to tell you how to play the game, at least on a mechanical point. So that's kind of my review of this map. We need to be a little bit more confident. I'm going to take notes. Confident. Sorry for sloppy handwriting again. Confident in our teammates. We need to have better communication. As we saw in that one round where Joe had the whole thing here and pushed out and this guy killed him. That was not good. So better communication, more confident, and then mid-round rotations need to be way better. Just knowing what your objective is. So most teams don't think about that. Most teams don't think about, like, what's the next step, right? Like, what is the goal after we do a certain thing? Like, we're running a 3 outside, 1 inside on Mansion. What is our goal on that setup? Well, our goal is usually to get boom. And it kind of depends on what the other team is doing. So once we win that goal, once we, complete that objective of we've got boom shot, what's the next goal? Like, what's the next mission in video games terms that unlocks for us? The next one would be to establish better map control. So how do we do that? We use the boom shot to do that, right? Now that we've gotten this rocket launcher that's more inconsistent than we want, but basically a free kill if used right, and we've got 2 people separated, like, that's going to be our method to be able to get the next objective. So those are the things that you want to think about moving into the mid-round, and how to kind of close out those rounds where you get that initial win, that initial boom pickup, that initial map control, and finish that as a win for you and not some kind of mistake.